You know, I haven't done a Halo video in a hot minute, and it's because there hasn't been a lot to talk about. So when I saw the news that there was a new workshop mode called Survive the Undead made by the Forge Falcons, I got pretty excited. I didn't know what it was. I just figured it'd be some fun new experience to play, maybe some sort of single player adventure or some fun new game mode. And it kind of lives up to the hype. But honestly, if this is what Halo is resorting to for exciting, hot new content, then I feel bad. And let's be honest here, by the way. Us Halo fans have been punching bags for a very long time. But here we are. Another interesting, albeit somewhat shallow mode to check out in Halo Infinite. Survive the Undead is definitely a phenomenal feat upon its own, that somebody was able to replicate another game mode inside of Halo using tools readily available in Forge. And I think for that alone, this should be celebrated as a win, right? Because you're expanding kind of the culture and the idea of the game by mixing in elements with Forge to create a totally new mode. But it makes me realize that 343 should be the ones doing this, promoting and publishing new content, not independent people going off and using the tools of Forge to make it happen. So you're going to have to bear with me for the first couple minutes here of the game because I had no idea what was going on. There's really no instructions, but I quickly figured out this is basically Call of Duty Zombies, but in Halo form. So what you're looking at here with all of these things that you can activate have numbers next to them. That's associated with points that you get. So by killing the enemies that spawn out, you are going to be rewarded with points. And then once you hit a certain point threshold, you can then utilize objects around the environment to upgrade your experience. They could be things that give different type of enemies that come out, unlock new areas, give you new weapons, upgrade the ammunition that you have, just to name a few. And that's basically what this mode is. That lighter that I keep walking over to is actually ammunition. So at 450 points, you can then go buy bullets for your gun because you're going to be pretty much dry at the beginning. Enemies will spawn in what is basically these kind of like predetermined spawning tubes. You can see me farming them here. And I feel like that's something that's kind of odd about the game because look at how many kills I rack up just by literally standing here. It does, again, it is highlighting the cool ideas that come from Forge, right? I mean, I think when anybody thinks of Halo Infinite, they're not thinking of a Call of Duty Zombies mode, which requires you to go around and get money to unlock more things and then run to the crate and buy better kill streaks and weapons to make the enemies harder to kill. Halo has never ventured into that territory, and these guys have figured out how to do it, and that definitely should be applauded. But it shows the limitation of the engine because you know where the enemies are going to spawn based on the sounds you hear. Now, we will get overwhelmed at the end, and enemies will start spawning out from all of the portals significantly faster. But since you kind of know where they're going to come from, if you're a little smarter than me, again, this was my first and honestly probably only time checking out this game mode, it kind of makes it pretty basic on to know where to stand. And to stand there and to farm and shoot into basically the nothingness as enemies blindly spawn and run at you. And there's not really a lot of tactics there. It wasn't until the very end when we started to get really overwhelmed that I'm switching to my, secondary, and I'm like, oh God, they're just not stopping, backpedaling, that I really start to feel like it was starting to really emulate what Call of Duty Zombies mode really became, which was just this non-stop shooting and sort of looting mode where you were getting points as fast as you could and trying to stay ahead of the curve. But up until that point, you know, it's not entirely clear what you're doing here. You see all of these objectives because they're limited, again, by the tool set that they have. So it's not entirely clear what the waypoints do or how they're activated outside of using points or what that means for your particular playthrough. And while I do applaud the idea of this exploration and trying to understand, you know, exactly what you're getting into, a lot of these things aren't clear. Like why that, it looks like a lighter to me, but I understand it now to be like a yellow ammo box. Why that is not labeled as ammo. We already have an icon in the game that you can walk up to and replenish your ammo that it already exists in some of the, you know, like horde modes. Why that changed, I don't know. What some of the other power-ups do that you collect and upgrade to, what they do, I don't know. I guess you just got to kind of figure it out and look at all your stats and look at your shield and look at your, maybe your movement speed or how many bullets you have or what kind of area you unlocked to kind of uncover the mysteries here. But I feel like it's ultimately kind of a shallow experience and it wears off very quickly. And what you're seeing here is it. There's no like grand reveal. There's no like wild thing. I mean, I assume more enemies will slowly appear. Like, well, even that guy. What is that? What does that red guy do? Does he give you more health, more respawns? I don't know. It doesn't say. Did I even buy it? Is there any indication I bought it? It's weird. I could say this about this. Again, I do appreciate the originality, and I'm not trying to take away from people who are doing their best to inject something new into Forge. And this reminds me a lot of the custom game browser that exists on Halo Reach that's just so phenomenally well done. You can play for hours and just constantly get these new, very simple, very basic game modes and have a ton of fun doing it. And every so often you get a stinker. But there's so much density that it doesn't really matter. You're just kind of like playing like Halo Mario Party, right? Like just this roulette mode of new experiences to play. And you don't really feel like Halo Infinite got that part right. That embracing of this kind of exciting experience. It's not really making waves. This mode is making waves because, one, they've been promoting the hell out of it. Two, it's on the splash page of the game when you load it up. And three, they are doing a 343 like community play date tomorrow, kind of walking you through this mode. But short of that, it doesn't really feel like there's a lot of excitement or hype or whatever surrounding this. And it makes me sad to think that, you know, Microsoft invested all this money and all this development tech into making this game engine and into making Halo, and you think of like what the promise of the original 10-year plan was, and let's be honest, that's gone out the window. But you think of all that promise and excitement, and then here we are, what, 3 years removed from the launch of this game, and we're playing this now, and that's what we have left. It doesn't really feel like we're getting much, and I think a lot of people are going to play this like me and go, huh, and then move on to anything else. I don't feel like this is going to captivate people's attention for a while, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope it brings the numbers back, but I think we know the answer to that. So there you have it. Just some thoughts on this particular experiment mode. I don't know. I mean, is this the launch of exciting new game modes that are going to be injected into the service? Is this the beginning of some new Halo renaissance, or is this just somebody kind of plopped this on 343's lap and they're like, yeah, okay, we'll make a title page for you? I don't know. I'll leave that for y'all to decide. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.